आज हम पीसीएम ट्रांसमिशन बेस्ड प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करेंगे एंड प्रॉब्लम इज ईटीवी सिग्नल इज band limited to 10.2 megahertz and transmitted by using PCM system. Given that number of quantization level to 512 and determine the code word length, transmission bandwidth, bit rate and output. Before start the solving problem, we read the problem carefully, what parameter is given and what we want to calculate. We, we read the question again and write down what parameter is given. First thing is a TV signal is band limited to 10.2 megahertz. Means the maximum modulating frequency FM is 10.2 megahertz. Band limited to 10.2 megahertz means this is the basic input signal which is transmitted by PCM system. Then given that number of quantization level is 512, we write down the total number of quantization 512. And another thing, and another parameter is a TV signal, means clearly mention that the channel number of channel capital N equal to 1. Now start the problem. What we want to calculate. First thing is code word length. Code word length simply total number of bit which is to be required to transmit the PCM signal. And we have already known that the total number of quantization level Q equal to 2 to the power n, where n is number of bit. And we have already mentioned that the total number of quantization level is 512. 512 equal to 2 to the power n, means simply 2 to the power 9 equal to 2 to the power n. By comparing, we find that the value of n is 9, means the code word length is 9. Second parameter, transmission bandwidth. Transmission bandwidth of PCM signal is 2 FM n into n plus 1 hertz, where capital N is number of channel and small is number of bit or code word length. We have already in the question already given that a TV signal. A TV signal means number of channels is 1. So we mention here n equal to 1. Now second parameter, n number of bits equal to 9. We have already calculated. Now we calculate transmission bandwidth. Put the values 2 into 10.2, 1 into 9 plus 1 megahertz. Now I multiplying, bandwidth is calculated 204 megahertz, 204 megahertz. Now we move the second thing which we want to calculate bit rate. Bit rate is simply NFS. Bit rate is simply NFS, where Fs is sampling frequency or sampling rate. Fs equal to simply to Fm. Fm is simply maximum modulating frequency, which already given that 10.2 megahertz. Now put the value n. N is simply code word length. N equal to 9. We have already calculated in first. Now we put the value of Fm 10.2 megahertz. By multiplying, we find that the bit rate is now 183.6 Mbps, megabit per second. Now we move on fourth parameter, which we want to calculate output SNR. Output SNR simply output signal to noise ratio. Signal to noise ratio means simply signal power, noise power. Move on, four parameter. When we talk about PCM, the standard formula for calculation of output SNR is 4.8 plus 6n dB, where n is number of bit or code word length. Now we're putting the value 4.8 plus 6 into n, and we have already calculated into 6. Now by adding 4.8 and 54, now total SNR is 58.8 dB. All the parameters calculated. In previous year AK2 exam, same question was asked. That parameter now change, the quantization level is 256, and here band limited to 10.8 megahertz is replaced as sampling rate 8 kilohertz per second. And in problem asked, determine code word length, transmission bandwidth, bit rate, and output. The one thing which changes here, the FM in problem given that Fs, here the value is Fm, and previous year which question was asked in the university exam is given that Fs, sampling rate. Fs means Fs equal to 2Fm. Then we calculate Fm by Fs. Then Fm is simply 4 kilohertz. And now Fm is replaced here by 4 kilohertz. And quantization level here 512 is replaced by 256. Now 2 to power 8 equal to 2 to power n. And now code word length is changed 9 to 8. All things remain same, only two parameters changes, frequency and code word length. In 2018-90, same question was asked. The one parameter is changed, that 24 TV channels are transmitted using 10.2 megahertz band limited frequency and 512 quantization level. One thing is changed. Now when we calculate, all thing will remain same. Only one changes are here, that now n is replaced at 24. Means in the previous problem, the in problem clearly mentioned that a TV channel, and in this problem 2019-18, which was asked by university exam, given that 24 TV channel. Now n is replaced as 24 and all parameters remain same. This is the important topic.